Hello, I'm Glenn Tobey. I'm a Spring Forest Shikang master and a psychotherapist. The topic of this 5-minute talk is on letting go. I must admit I was trying to figure out what to do today. Struggling a little bit with this letting go, how huge a topic it was. But then I saw overhead a hawk flying this afternoon, just soaring. It was so beautiful. And it reminded me a long, long time ago when I was out in the country. I saw a similar hawk rush down into a field and pick up a rabbit with his talons and then fly away with it. And it either couldn't hold on or the rabbit struggled and he dropped the rabbit or she dropped the rabbit and it fell to the ground. And then this little boy ran over to the rabbit and saw the kind of the wounds that the rabbit had. And of course, I have no thought at all that the rabbit was going to die. It was just that the rabbit was hurt and I needed to do something. So I came back to a parent that was with me and we put it in the shoebox and I tried to bandage it and I stayed around it and I stayed around it. And then all night long I stayed around it. And then when I woke in the morning, the rabbit had died. And I cried the whole day. I didn't realize the impact of what death meant, even for a fuzzy little rabbit, and what that means. Yeah, I flushed a goldfish or two down the toilet earlier, but that wasn't the same, thing, the same depth of that experience. Amazing how what life can do and can't do in one's life. I remember traveling a little while ago to India, into Varanasi, where they have a ritual of burning the bodies on the shore of the Ganges River. Just powerful. And then there's so many other cultures that celebrate, so to speak, have ceremonies for death. They're not so much about death, but they're a recognition of life, a recognition of what's gone on and what moves on. Just absolutely powerful. The dangers of sadness in the death is moving yourself into isolation. That's why the ceremonies, the burning, the this or that, the food, whatever, is to bring people back into a connection, not into isolation. And that's what I remember about a lot of funerals. If you're sitting there waiting for the service to begin or waiting for the ceremony to begin, those kinds of things, it takes you back like the hawk and the rabbit, takes you back to everyone else who has died before you. So you're not only grieving this particular situation, you're grieving everything that has happened before you that has caused some death. You have held on to those feelings. So I don't mean letting go means not remembering any of that, but not letting it turn into isolation and death for your own self, death of your spirit. So the importance of connecting with death and dying is about a community. So in Spring Forest Shikang, the energetic work in terms of grieving and death has a lot to do with the lung system and the heart. The energetic task of the heart is to move on that sadness, that grieving energy that gets stuck. And so there's movements by which there's ways to raise that vibration. So not to forget or diminish the dying or the death, but to make sure that the vitality, the vibration inside you stays alive, so to speak. And it affects the heart. And the function of the heart in this grieving time is when it questions the meaning of life and how come God did this and what's going on. And, so it works on that vibration of raising the meaning of life inside you, the purpose of things, so that the death doesn't say there's no purpose to life anymore. Very powerful. And so in the time of social unrest, the mourning of the death of one individual mourns the death of many individuals, mourns the death of many individuals. Almost generation. Almost all the deaths that have occurred, that have gone unanswered, unspoken, and kept quiet. All those then come up in this anger and this rage about what's happening with one individual, another individual, and the impact this one individual has had upon the community, what the community has had upon the global consciousness, the anger, the pain of the dying, the unrecognition of the past, holding on. So the letting go doesn't mean forgetting. The letting go is What is the value of the recognition of the power of life, the power of death, and to recognize and give voice to that power so that it all brings life to everyone. Thank you for listening.